So today's video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is the general process behind buying a property. It can be a condo, co-op, house. This is just the general process, and hopefully it can give you some insight and you can pick up some tips along the way. So the first thing you wanna prepare is your financing, right? Budgeting. You want to determine how much you are willing to spend. Are you doing all cash? Are you doing financing? If you're doing financing, you want to be pre-approved. There's a lot of benefits to being pre-approved, and that's always a surprise for me when people seem to want to first look at properties, physically go to properties, instead of having this key, relatively simple step taken care of. One of the key benefits for being pre-approved first is that if you go out, you find a property that you love, you're ready to move ahead on, you want to be ready, right? You don't want to oh, okay, seller, wait for me so I take care of my pre-approval process. You don't want to do that because many times we live in a market where it's just very, very competitive, right? There's a lot of other buyers like you, like me, that want to buy. So one of the key benefits of having this pre-approval process done is that number one, it's free. Right? There's no spending on it unless you obviously buy the house. Two, if you find the house that you want, you can submit an offer with the pre-approval letter attached, and trust me, it's going to be it's going to make you so much more competitive, right? Because the seller's going to be like, okay, this person has been vetted by a financial institution, and assuming the property gets appraised at roughly the price that we are asking for, then you should be good to go. So again, if you are ready to buy a property, the first thing you want to do is get your budget financing in order. Keep in mind, generally speaking, rule of thumb, you want to allocate between 1 to 3.5% of the purchase price towards closing costs. Here in Florida, it tends to be about half than the closing costs in New York City. But again, it depends if it's a co-op, condo, single-family house. There's a lot of variables. But generally speaking, you should allocate between 1 to 3.5% towards the closing cost. If you're paying all cash, it's half that, because when you look at the breakdown in terms of where are the closing costs going towards, when you're doing financing, some of the closing costs go towards the lending institution, right? Originating costs and so forth. So that's step number one. Get your financing budget down so you are in the best position possible to move forward swiftly with the house purchase process. Step number two, you want to describe your ideal home. Do you want a high-rise, low-rise, new construction? Do you want wooden floors? Do you want washer and dryer in the unit? Maybe you have a pet that weighs 30 pounds, and here in South Florida, majority of buildings have a pet weight limit of 20 pounds. So you want to describe in detail your ideal home. You want it to be a gated community, close to golf courses. That can go on for 12 hours. You get the point. Describe your ideal home. So once you have your budget ready, your financing ready, once you have described your ideal home, you want to contact your real estate agents. Okay, give him, her, all this information that we just reviewed, and basically the goal now is to basically tour the 3, 4, 5 best properties that meet your criteria. I generally recommend my clients to go during the daytime. I find that when we go during early hours, we get a good sense on how much natural light the property gets. Versus you go at night, you're a bit blindfolded on this regard. I also always advise that we talk with any passing neighbors. We want to get their hopefully unbiased opinion on their experience in the property. Are the walls too thin? Is management doing a poor job? There's so many things that could possibly not be shown, right, on the listing. So you want to ask these questions to the neighbors and the people that live in the neighborhood. I purposely don't say building employees, because naturally they're on the job and maybe they don't feel comfortable with sharing their honest opinion. So talk with your neighbors and ask them what their experience has been, how long they've been living at the property, if maybe they're renting, how many times have they renewed. These can all be indicators to help you get a behind-the-scenes view as to how good or bad the property is. It's also important to find out what are the management or maintenance fees. It can be the HOA. You want to find out if there are any assessments. You want to be clear on what are the carrying costs for this particular property. Does it include insurance? Does it include any utilities? Go to your city's website and find out what are the taxes for the property. As you know, when a property is sold, it gets reassessed. And when it gets reassessed, taxes either go up or down. So it's not always a good idea to go based on what the listing says as per what the current owner is paying in taxes. There's a lot of great city official websites that I use when I work with some of my clients that are investors, for example, and I help them get an idea as to how much they're going to be paying in taxes and help us determine how much of a cash flow they can be generated by buying that property. So again, when you're visiting the property, you want to also find out about all of these carrying costs that the building brings, so you're very well informed what you're potentially getting yourself into. All right, guys, step number 4, and probably the final step in this video. That's preparing the offer. One of the most popular contracts that is used is called as is. One thing that's important to note is that these contracts are not written by real estate agents, right? We agents, we're not licensed lawyers, and thus we cannot write these contracts. And so you want to basically talk with your agent and see how you can come up with the best, most attractive offer, because again, it's always best to be under the assumption that you're not the only one submitting an offer, right? Depending on your market, there might be a lot of demand, there might be a buyer's market, a seller's market, so there's a lot of things to consider. But some of the things that you're gonna have to answer is how many days do you want to ask for inspections, if any? How many days are you going to ask to complete financing, unless you're doing all cash? How many days are you asking to get, approved by the association? So all of these numbers are variables, and the lower the number, the more competitive your offer will be on the eyes of the seller. And obviously, again, if you include that pre-approval, which I mentioned earlier, your offer will be even more appealing than a person that has no pre-approval, but you're just still asking for 15 days to get approved for financing. Okay, so preparing an offer is a lot of variables to take into account. Your goal overall is to basically submit an offer that makes your offer very attractive, but at the same time protects your deposit, i.e., earnest money. There's another question you have to answer. How much of a deposit are you willing to put in escrow for the property? Another tip that I give is basically have ready your inspection person, your financing person, and your title company. Okay. I always advise my clients, talk with a few people that do this, that are licensed and are good. Ask for recommendations, ask for referrals. I give my clients always more than one, because I never want to make them feel like I only work with one person, which I don't. I like to work with the best of the best, but I always want to feel my client, I always want to make my client feel comfortable. So I will give them more than one company that I've worked with in the past that have done a phenomenal job. And I ask them, hey, listen, go on Google, right, or wherever, ask around, ask for recommendations, interview people, and find your team, right? We need that team set so that when we submit the offer, we are ready to call our designated people so we can get the inspection underway, financing underway, and so forth and so forth. Why? Because once your offer gets accepted, the clock starts ticking. Another reason why it's so important to be on top of all the key dates that you wrote on your contract is because your deposit money, will be lost if you don't stay on top of schedule. Okay, so another way that I help my clients, I give every single one an outline. Easy to read, clear outline with all the key dates listed, so they know, okay, in 8 days this is due, so we have 5 days to get it done. In 15 days this is due, so let's get on the phone and have our interview process started. In 8 days, our financing is due. Okay, so tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we're gonna call our financing person, tell them we're ready to move forward, and that we want to have our property appraised. My last sale, I managed to close 1 day earlier than written on the contract because A, my buyer needed it in the middle of the procedure, but two was because we were organized. We were organized. I already had an understanding of what was coming next, and I was constantly following up with everybody, from the property manager to the title to financing. I was constantly making myself available to everybody to make sure to see what can I do to help to speed up the process. So one of the best things you can do to, again, be on top of everything is to have ready your team, title, financing, appraisal, and so forth. So guys, I hope this video was helpful. I love helping my clients. It's one of the biggest compliments when I see when I get a thank you from my clients, when I see them get their keys. It's such a, it makes me really happy. So I've been fortunate to be helping clients across New York City and South Florida. If you are interested in buying, selling, or renting residential or commercial in any of these two amazing states, shoot me an email, and I would love to work with you. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. It's Saturday here, so I hope you have a great week. All right, guys, talk soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.